Check, 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 check. It's on. Hey. So, I haven't been able to log into my Facebook because my phone's missing. I haven't been able to log into my email because my phone's missing. And so forth. I can't be able to go do things because my wallet was taken, probably with my phone, and I have no idea where they are. So, I'm pretty much screwed out of society for a few days. No Facebook. Only YouTube, pretty much, and then this. So if I want to do any outbound communications, I just have to hope that my number one fan checks out checks out Yona. Okay, so I'm broke as shit right now, but it's cool. I gotta start to pay bills on the first day. Oh yeah, pay the bills. Right, my wallet's in my stolen, and my phone's stolen. So by the cops. So how am I gonna? This is gonna be. Society's doing everything it can to screw me over, and then expect me to like ask for seconds. It's like, oh yeah, thanks for the boot stop, Satan. Can I have another? No, I'm not gonna say that. It's retarded. Thanks for the boot stop. Pfft, I've had better, I guess. So instead of chasing after like Vocalites and stuff, I'm gonna chase after like humans and stuff. Oh my god, she's so adorable. Y'all got problems if you don't see that as the cutest person in the world. Well, I mean, I'm not like a total yandere stalker, but I do appreciate the beauty. Not like that anymore, though. If you have got a filthy mind and think I'm trying to say something I'm not. You know what's really awesome? Is thinking you love someone or something for 8 years and finding out that it was just a satanic trap the whole time. It's really awesome. Oh, man. So you know when I wrote the Chronicles of Yona? Let's read it. Screw it. Let's read the book. Alright. So I was working on a couple books here. This one probably needs to get deleted because I'm not into that stuff anymore. That needs to get deleted. Son of a bitch. Eight years. Well, I always wanted to know what it felt like to divorce someone after nearly a decade. What's really cool about when someone betrays you, especially if you know they're going to betray you the entire time, you still do it anyway. You're like, oh, shit, I thought I meant something to you. Crap. Alright. Alright, well. It's my own damn fault, really. I didn't do anything I didn't want to do. I asked some weird things, but once we clarified what we were asking about, it's just like, no, we do not want the same thing, actually. I wrote some kind of book. Oh, a few words. 26,000 words. It's not for young audiences. It's basically an idea of power exchange. Yeah, I'm over that shit. Just stick that in there and get rid of it. There's no power exchange in a marriage. If there is, then it's not really a marriage, is it? That's all crap, too. That one's cute, but I'm not interested anymore. Where'd the Yana thing go? So, now that I know what it feels like, I'm going to read this again and see if I can't therapy myself. Why is there only 36,000 words here? What? I don't understand. This declassified document has been designated by the Bureau of Extradimensional Diplomacy to be fictional entertainment. Any resemblance to people, places, events, real world or otherwise, is purely coincidental. Copyright 2022. Part 1 is the nurture. It is only those who have neither fired a shot nor heard the shrieks and groans of the wounded, who cry aloud for blood, more vengeance, more desolation. War is hell. William Tecumseh Sherman from the United States Civil War. Chapter 1, Timberland, Anna, Gaia. Just before noon, 17th day, 3rd month, 3036. I want to serve. I looked up from my lap to my army recruiter, who was seated across from me behind a polished wooden desk. My nervousness seeped through my ruse. I felt my twin ponytails brush past my shoulders as I gave him a polite bow from my seat. As long as you're sure. This is your last chance to back out. He looked at me with concern. There are easier jobs, like being a medic or a cleric. The recruiter looked up from a form on the desk. Heck, a pretty face like yours, you could probably go civilian and buy your citizenship like most people do. With citizenship on the line, competition for training seats was fierce, but that's not my goal. There's not many people training on how to kill, government sanctioned anyway. My focus moved back to my slender hands. I refuse to be defined by what my parents gave me and just let the world be handed to me. I want to be proud of what I accomplish with my own hands. I looked back up at the well-groomed, burly man, my nerves and resolve steeled. I like your attitude. You realize that I won't take every sorry sack that walks through my door. All right, I'll sign your application. Happy birthday. And after he signed, Sergeant Nedzad McIntosh slid the sheet across the desk and pointed to a spot on it. Once this form is complete, you'll be officially enlisted. Do you know how much you weigh? Initial weight space blank. Oh crap, I forgot. I haven't weighed in for a couple days. How about 110? Last I checked. You don't sound so sure. That's fine. At least one of us is prepared. He chuckled and pointed to a scale across the room. Make sure everything's correct, though. I don't want to write things twice. I looked over the form carefully. Yona Victoria Chisado was printed across the top. Birthday 3/17/3018. Age 18. Anna provisional citizen number filled in. Enlistment date immediate. Correct. No errors. The sergeant stood. I'll also need your measurements for initial uniforms. Should I call Sergeant Anderson back in from lunch? He reached for his personal device on the desk. My cheeks felt hot as I blurted out the next sentence. I don't want to inconvenience anyone. Let's just get this done. There, I said it. I feel safe. We're just measuring, no touching, no changing. The sergeant shrugged. You sure? In a calmer tone, I continued. If it helps any, I'm either a size 0 or 2. I'm sorry, I'm really not familiar with women's sizes. I know my wife's like a size 12. I think she would hate you. He chuckled as we stepped away over to the scale. I slipped off my running shoes and stepped onto the scale. A mirror was against the wall in front of me. While he slid the weights on the scale, I was forced to study myself. I couldn't help but grit my teeth. The school bullies made sure I knew I looked like an abomination. My doll-like features, large round eyes, a straight nose with a rounded tip, thin lips, and a somewhat large mouth made me feel like my skull was too small for my girly, not womanly, face. What I couldn't stand most was my natural eye color, magenta. My eyes reminded me too much of my sperm donor of a father. Thank God for Mom's genetic contribution. Since the discovery of magic, permanent unnatural colored irises and hair were common. So no one would turn me into the Bureau of Extra-Dimensional Diplomacy, BED, automatically. The scale read 114.2 pounds. He slid a ruler up from the scale from the top of my head. He slid a ruler from the scale to the top of my head. 5 feet, 5 inches, rounded up. How old is this thing, Sergeant Nedzad? He laughed as he wrote down the measurements. I bought it off a dinosaur. Some things are useful no matter how much they age. He moved back and gave me room to step off the scale. Congratulations. You gained 4 pounds since last weigh-in. You're already stronger since we started working out together weeks ago. He spoke while he crossed the room to his desk. You chose some pretty tough jobs. The next 4 years of your life are going to be like one of those uphill both ways in the snow type scenarios. He opened a drawer and handed me a measuring tape from it. I'll just talk you through what we're measuring. I nodded and took up the tape. Actually, I do parkour. I love training in something. I like pushing my limits. Instead of paying for a personal trainer, they'd be paying me. I couldn't help but smile at the prospect. Measure around your hips. He pointed to his own hips. You should also include your seat. 36 inches. Another insecurity was my narrow shoulder-to-hip ratio, which formed my pear-shaped body, albeit skinny. And now, this will all become public record. Now your waist. He spoke while he wrote down the number. Then he again showed me where to measure. Just breathe normally, and don't try to suck in unless you hate breathing. I chuckled. 24 inches. Maybe I'll pass judgment on my waist later. Next, just under your chest. 31 inches. He's measuring my bones. These numbers should remain relevant unless my bone structure changes. Next, over your chest. Sergeant Nedzand seemed a little apprehensive. His uneasiness is making me nervous. Is it because of my small stature? 34 inches? Whatever. I'm aerodynamic and proud of it. The career sergeant's composure did not crack. And now across your shoulders. He simply drew a line with his finger on his own shoulders. 14 inches. I gave him a puzzled look. I was expecting only the 3 main sizes. The uniform is tailored to fit and be ready by day 1. You'll get a new set after the final fitness tests. Last one, I promise. your arm length. 30.6. Why don't they just do one uniform? Wouldn't it be more efficient? He wrote down the measurement while he spoke. You only just graduated high school. You don't know how government goes, does it? He chuckled at his own joke. We recycle the ones you don't use, and you'll receive someone else's uniform. We can afford to have our soldiers in clothing that fits. Be proud of that. That's one of spending it. Sounds pretty cheap to me. I'd rather have a new uniform once than 10 hand-me-downs. There had better not be stains. He held out his hand and took the tape when I returned it. Then gave me a partially filled form before he returned to his seat. Sergeant Nedzad motioned for me to do the same. Before you sign this, make sure it's correct one last time. I returned to my seat and looked further down. Citizenship, resident, non-citizen. Natural hair color, jet black. Shoe size, 8. Religious preferences, none. Allergy, none. Medical history, no surgery. Medical history, no incidents. Prior martial arts training, none. Initial exam, blank. CQC, blank. Weapon certifications, blank. Magical aptitude, deferred to apprentice training. You're not checking if I'm a mage? You're not bragging about being one, so we'll schedule your tests like normal. Unless I need to send you to the Imperial University. I shook my head and smiled. No, I'd rather be enlisted. The entrance screening test results were news to me. I scored 90% better than my peers in spatial memory, 89th percentile in critical thinking, and 85th in rapid decision making. The other many factors they tested, I placed average. The worst score, leadership, 30th percentile. When I considered the intentionally hilarious answer I gave, I couldn't help but chuckle. You like your scores? The prodigal spatial memory is going to come in handy for seeing the battlefield with your mind's eye. You'd be a threat to the whole theater if you had good leadership aptitude. Shame. Oh well. At least I don't have to sit behind a desk. I made sure to check every clause, and as I continued to sign, I found myself skimming more than reading. This is how those old space monkeys must have felt riding in the Gauss elevator to test the orbital transit system. Each of these signatures carries legal consequences to and including a literal firing squad. You do realize I sit behind a desk right now, even. He leaned back. Okay, I'm on air. You do realize I sit behind a desk right now, even. He leaned back and smiled. Got enough signatures? Almost like I'm signing my life away. This earned a chuckle. Your life hasn't even started yet, Mr. Sato. You're here on the very first day you're eligible. Folks like you do something with every moment of their lives. If I were a betting man, which I am, then I'd put 2 whole on a coin on you being a lifer with us. Oh, I'm going to be a diplomat. I don't intend to make a career out of this. You? A demon hunter? He laughed in amazement. You crack me up, Chisato. Well, at least I understand your job choices now. Gonna try the journeyman program? I nodded. Good. Underestimate me. Yes, that's my plan. The bureau, bed, did not look kindly on unsanctioned hunting. Demons typically grow stronger with each kill. The journeyman program acts to mitigate this with nearly impossible entry standards. Applicants must have outstanding prior records. The best journeyman applicants are hand-picked from an entrance tournament to become full diplomats. All I need from the military is enough training to pass that tournament. Cigarette break. I finished the last signature of the contract. Okay. Now I'm legally government property. The first of many gates to my dream has been cleared. My rights under the Imperial Federal Law as a resident alien were severely restricted. With that last signature, I now had even fewer rights. The closed contract had an end date, but in certain circumstances, my service could be extended. Now that the contract is live, I need you to submit a urine and blood sample. Now I know how that monkey felt as the capsule burned on re-entry. I looked at him and tilted my head slightly and gave my premeditated responses. The drug screen I understand, but why the blood? He shrugged. Brass says it's standard procedure now, so it is what it is. Sergeant Nedzad took a new bottle from a locker beside his desk, removed the plastic, and handed it to me. He motioned for me to follow him into the hall that connected the office to the other branches, where there was a single stall bathroom. Now, I don't like this either, but the door does have to stay open. You can get water from the sink. It's pristine. With him outside the door, it was nerve-wracking, but at least he looked away. 10 minutes later, I gave him the sample. Do you have a medic to do the blood draw? We returned to the office. It's all automated now. Here. He handed me a very thick syringe. Just hold it close. The machine does everything. I was prepared for this. I picked the designated spot on my arm, slid up my sleeve, and applied the device, then let it withdraw enough blood for a sample. He handed me a bandage, took the samples, and placed them in the analysis machine, which gave a near immediate preliminary result. Okay, congratulations. You're clean and a normal, healthy woman. Gate 2, clear. Sergeant Nedzad had placed the samples into a plastic bag and sealed it. I have sealed Recruit Chisado's samples, free from any contamination or tampering. He placed it in a cooler with the other samples and locked it. I have secured Recruit Chisado's samples for pickup. Do you consent, Yona Victoria Chisado? I nodded. Sorry, you have to say it verbally, for Curtis. Sergeant Nedzad sat down behind his desk. He's not laughing. He's serious. I, Yona Victoria Chisado, affirm having seen you secure my preserved sample. I sat down across from him. So if anything goes wrong, I'm not to blame. Let's get this all filed and uploaded, and we'll see who's got a training class seat available. Curtis? He slid the document to the center of the desk. Where am I? Looked away. He slid the document to the center of the desk. I had noticed a small camera above the desk weeks ago, but resisted the urge to look at it. A computerized voice responded. That document has been scanned. Shall I upload it to the new United New North America Central Command? Yes. CENTCOM's correct. Thank you, Curtis. How long till I get deployed? I fiddled I fiddled with my thumb and pointer finger. None of what I need involves killing humans. If I can find a way legally to get the training and leave. I hear this worldwide civil war is intense. Turns out having only one large world government doesn't bring world peace. You nervous? He leaned against the cabinets behind the desk. Sergeant, you have a new message at your work terminal. You usually have me print that from the sender. Shall I go ahead? Yes, Curtis. He turned to a small printer against the back wall. I picked up after the interruption. Nervous? I'm just excited to get some experience. A flat lie. If I logged enchanted reality video game hours counted, I'd be a hardened combat veteran with 4 non-stop years of service. But simulations aren't reality. That doesn't sound convincing. You don't have to look forward to deploying, but your service only counts if you deploy. You'll be ready. He turned from the cabinets with a different set of documents. Lucky you! You've already been hired. You will be recon. Plenty of live experience. Your training ship out date is tomorrow. Gate 3 clear. Any one failure means my whole selfish, prideful plan is a scrap, and I revert to plan A, ask my step-parents for help. I fiddled with my thumbs. Relax. You're going to be training with the best, Mr. Sato. You've got a year of training ahead of you. Worry about tomorrow's problems tomorrow. There were other offers if you want. I can get you a desk job. No. I shook my head quite quickly. A smile returned to my face. Mech tanker? Where your desk stomps buildings while you sit on your ass all day? No. I felt calmer. I can feel guilty for lying to him later. He's given me more than I can repay or express. Thank you, Sergeant Nedzad. I stood to leave. Be back here at 0400. As I walked to the bus, I mentally ran through what to expect. As I walked to the bus stop, I mentally ran through what to expect. I signed a 4-year and 1-month contract. First, simple military training for 12 weeks. Then, apprentice individual training for 9 months. Permanent duty station on-the-job training and certification, 1 unpaid month. The 3 remaining years, do the government's wet work. I'll keep training and training until I can put that thing in the ground. I blew off my last day of freedom and watched my favorite war movie, with half of it being second millennium basic military training. I love historical dramas. I'd seen it so many times. I could quote almost every line from the drill instructor. Not that I'd say those things in public. The golf ball through the garden hose had me rolling with laughter. I hope my instructor is this charismatic. When the movie began its second half, their deployment, I turned it off. I know I'm going to get my hands dirty, and I'll lose my innocence, but at minimum, can I keep my humanity? As a distraction, I played Samurai, Demon Decapitator, the rest of the night. In enchanted reality, I could practice demon hunts and other simulated real-world monsters in a full sensory environment. After I tested every weapon, I favored the reach and weight of big swords. Before long, the only thing me and the next real step to my dreams is a night's sleep. Please, no nightmares this time. Happy birthday to you. A chorus of 2 voices finished the song. I blow out the candles on the cake. 3-year-old Yuno watches happily. My mom clears off the candles and heads into the kitchen. That thing called father, with his ponytail, kneels beside me. Cake or presents? The adult man asks me. Presents! No, don't. My old self doesn't hear me. Alrighty, Daddy's got something special just for you. Show me your hand. Liar! Yay! My hand reaches out every time this part plays. Stop! Now, before I give you this, I need to know. Are you a big girl? You imposter! Uh-huh. I can't change the past. I don't know. Big girls don't cry. I won't cry. I have no power. I'm 6. My fingers extend on their own. Okay. You promise? Yeah! How can you betray me like this? That thing leaves the cursed silver chunk of metal in my hand. It steps away. I remember this moment now. Mom's about to re-enter the room. I hear distant screams. They're mine. Pain, like fire, shoots up my arm. My veins are turning black. It is reaching my chest. I'm passing out. Chapter 2. Agria, Unna, Gaia. Just before 5 a.m. on the 28th of the 5th month. I gasped for air and woke in a cold sweat. The room was dimly lit. I could hear the sounds of people asleep. I'm in my bed at the Simple Training Complex. Right. I've been here for 10 weeks, and that recurring nightmare had still not taken a letter of absence. It was the best and last clue with my parents' whereabouts, so I studied it every time. My watch read 5 minutes before reveille. Frustrated at the loss of precious minutes of sleep, I sat up out of my cot and placed my bare feet on the cool floor. Might as well go ahead and change into my physical training clothes. The lights flashed on as the intercom played the trumpet melodies loudly. The squadron of trainees, at varied speeds, got up and robotically got dressed, made their beds, and helped each other with their hair for the day. Some things never change. Let's go. What's taking so long? Be first to the pad today, so we're first to eat, and maybe we'll get some downtime. Let's go. Let's go. The male instructor barked once the entry ritual was complete. It was an exercise for security forces. We painstakingly verified each detail of their credentials before the entry was allowed, even if we clearly knew who it was. It was difficult to stand around as the unauthorized instructor tried to yell her way in. So this is attention to detail. I will learn from anything and everything. Going back to start over was never faster than doing it correctly the first time, and doing it wrong was never acceptable. If it's worth doing twice, it's worth doing right. A mistake could be the difference between bringing garlic, salt, or silver to the wrong demon hunt or letting an imposter into the camp. We walked down the stairs, exiting under the dorms, before filing into formation, sorted by height. Tall trainees in front, short trainees in back. We were barely in formation before the instructor was barking. Squad, 10 shut! Snap. Forward, hut! He continued in a monotone cadence. Out, ho, 3, hot, out, ho, 3, hot. Although I knew it's hut 2, 3, 4, I couldn't resist laughing when someone called him out. Out! Who's the tree whore? After 2 repeats, I counted to 8 with my internal cadence. Ichi, ni, san, yon, go, lo, na, ha. This bar had been on repeat since I got here in March. This is 103.3 FM, Yona's Mind playing all the hits. Coming up next, more barking humans. Half left, hut! An 8-beat bar of marching past. Double time, hut! The instructor changed the cadence and sang a beat with his words. Oh no, I'm in the army. Oh no, I'm in the army. The timed breaths helped keep our breath rhythm while we jogged. Everything has value, if I'm determined to see it. Now I've got to sing jollies, the instructor continued. No wonder so many military flicks I found were musicals. I'm in one. Demon Hunter Diplomat, did you see that? Humanity's double-barreled 8-gauge stance on demon relationships was quite obvious. The name isn't fooling anybody. Mech Tinker, make a tinker. Let him have it. My job would be to remove any threats and make sure the expensive pampered mechs could drop in and safely slaughter everything surviving. Squad, normal time, harch. A beat. Squad, halt. Beat. At ease. We were first on the training pad. The sun hadn't even started to show signs of coming up yet on this cool May morning. This little jog to the PT pad doubled as a warm-up. Today was scheduled as anaerobic day. We had an hour, and the goal was muscle failure. At least every other day is aerobic day, the only time I could take a break. Spread out! The instructor gave the command after the cluster of echoes finished. We took about 100 rapid, tiny steps as we spaced out from left to the right, then from the front to the back. No sooner than we were spaced. At ease. First set. 15 push-ups. Ready? Begin! He waited for us to be ready, then began the count. The instructors would do the workout too. It was something I respected. They didn't ask anything they didn't do themselves. The training instructors could smell bullshit for miles, so we had to give it our all. Despite my hobbies, these guided exercises were still kicking my ass. By the end of it, almost all trainees were exhausted, and the instructors were covered in sweat. Squad! Lead trainee Green liked to get us in formation before the instructor had the chance to. We picked ourselves off the ground. Trainee Green's so cool. She was older than the rest of us, in her late 30s, but I could see the life experience she brings as the mindset of a leader. Form up. We closed the spaces until we were in the same formation as before. We were told to walk, not march, to the dorm. There was some time before the dining hall opened, a calculated window for showers. After returning to the dorm and stripping out of my sweat-soaked PT clothes, we filed through the showers car wash style. There were 8 heads, no dividers, and no privacy. I've seen about 59 more naked women than I wanted to in my life. I'll spare the details, but we'll just say my bashfulness has been eradicated. Lastly, we would have filed back into the main dorm and changed into the main battle uniform. My brain DJ continued with the hits as I dressed. Both underwear, on. Tan shirt, on. Socks, on. Green camo pants, on. Shirt tucked. Brown combat boots, on. Pants tucked into boots. Jacket to match the pants, on. Buttoned. Hair tied into 2 buns. Belt, on. Hat to button to belt. Saber snapped to left hip. Serial number on rifle, check. Training rifle slung on back. Uniform equipped. Ching. I lined up next to the door. This extra time was spent checking the mirror across the hall for any part of the uniform out of regulations. When we get our food, we'll be inspected by the instructors as we pass the table. I can use these habits to maintain every piece of my equipment, including my uniform. Even mundane things like hygiene and had mental nutritional value. I gotta be preemptive, proactive, and habitual. I didn't catch the cold we traded the first 5 weeks, not even once, so I was promoted to hygiene monitor. With graduation still a few weeks off, this week began field training. The previous 2 months were packed with 3 types of classroom classes: military customs and courtesies, medical survival, and combat tactics. Combat tactics classes were quite varied. Take magic, for example. There were 4 natural elements of magic: earth and its opposite, air; fire and its opposite, water. There were 4 additional elements, spirit elements: light and its paired sibling, space, and their opposite, dark, with its paired sibling, time. Simple focused on scenarios like, you've got a gun, they've got cheating magical bull piss. What do you do? The answer: use lethal force, leave no opportunity. Lethal force was a last resort, sure, but unlike domestic security and police forces, there were a lot few resorts between first and last. Everyone had some degree of magical resistance, but any combat mage would have planned for that. This would apply to my demon hunting. Some demons can regenerate. You're limited to your oath. What do you do? Break line of sight, flee, regroup, and counter. The oath was any melee weapon for other than human enemies. In the field, it would range from anything you're certified to carry. Mages and demons might have godlike power, but they have limits. We would learn how to exploit those in apprentice training, if our job requires it. Fortunately, mine did. You've been blessed by the gods, and have magical talent. They don't. What do you do? Self-preserve and use necessary force to attempt a prisoner of war. The world record for revival after death is 4 minutes before the soul leaves permanently, after which it's necromancy. It never turns out well for any party involved, so necromancy was outlawed only after it was fully explored in the Third World War. While artificial mages were possible through technology, natural-born mages were rare, valuable resources. Like organic versus lab-grown. Death doesn't always mean a stop to the pain. The millennial Geneva Accord laws were lost when the first guy in World War was born from the rubble. Okay, let me read that again. The millennia-old Geneva Accord laws were lost when it was first... Yeah, I'm done for the day. I can't even read straight. Alright, well, we'll pick this back up later.